Click, click, click.
Click, click, click.
Whoa, Dan, coming in hot today. Click, click, click. Someone's in a mood today.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
Welcome to Hey Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And high energy Dan. That's who I am from now
That's
on.
my favorite, Dan.
And we watch movies and then we pick them apart like little bone pickers, like the guys that pick cockle shells. Cockles. Oh, remember that sketch? Yeah, we're not going to talk about that sketch. I'm doing exactly what you're never supposed to do is make inside jokes, which
inside jokes that no one will ever know.
What are they talking about? I don't understand.
Just laugh along. Don't worry. Pretend you're in the in crowd.
So we watch movies, and each week we pick a movie that we expect to be fairly terrible, and not surprisingly, they generally turn out to be terrible or worse. And this week, what movie did you pick, Tony?
This week, it's the end of Romance Month. Romance of November, as they say. And so I was like, you know what? We're transitioning into the holidays. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine both of them. And we watched New Year's Eve, the perfect marriage of, everything, really.
Which is it's a Gary Marshall jam.
It is. What happened to Gary?
And he did like Sleepless in Seattle and
he did
Faking My Orgasm, that one.
Pretty Woman. He did Pretty Woman. I know that. He did Runaway Bride, which is my favorite.
Is it really?
I do like Runaway Bride. I'm a Richard Gere sucker, so it works. It works for me. It works.
Got it. So this is kind of the end of his career, 2011.
Yeah.
2 hours and 5 minutes. I wrote here, fuck Tony.
You know what? I'll take that because I feel like I've earned it.
I thought you were going to double down and agree that fuck Tony.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, definitely fuck Tony. I think I wrote I hate myself somewhere in these notes. I guess I didn't realize it was over 2 hours, but how do you make a 2-hour movie and still not get to know a single character in your film? That's incredible.
I illustrated the movie.
Oh my God.
This is the movie. This is what we just had through. Or what we
Do you think that's what was on Gary's wall? He had a bunch of note cards with strings and it was just insane.
The funny thing is, like, these anthology, so it's an anthology romance movie where we jump from storyline to storyline. That's why I made this, because you can't really follow it on the page because it just jumps from thing to thing to thing. And I'm a fan of Love Actually. I guess Tony's not. But the thing about that is you wait for you have your favorite storylines. You have the other ones that you're like, okay, whatever. But you're waiting to see where we'll develop and where this is going. None of these storylines were you waiting to come back to. Like, literally zero.
I will say every once in a while I was into the Zac Efron, but that's because I deeply love both of them, and I wish that we just had a movie about them, not this movie, but a separate movie.
It's true. Their one had the best beats, and I also the Ashton Kutcher, Lea Michele one was the other one that I was like, I liked how that one resolved. I mean, it's very straightforward how it resolves, but I actually, I felt some amount of chemistry, and I will say, maybe we'll talk about the acting at the beginning. I think Ashton was like kind of the best actor in the movie.
And the only reason that is true, because I agree with you 100%, but it's because he wasn't doing anything. He was playing it so low key that there wasn't points where you're like, well, what the hell are you doing right now? Because he's just so like even keeled, which is great. I mean, that takes talent, and I love Ashton Kutcher. Yeah. The Ranch is one of my favorite shows. Don't at me, guys. But
what is that?
It's his Netflix show, and it's about ranching. Don't worry about it. Whatever. He's just so natural in it that it just makes it seem like he's doing the best, because everyone else is doing some weird, crazy things. I don't know. This movie's a hot mess, Dan.
So basically, this movie takes place in the sort of 16 hours leading up to New Year's Eve, and it's centered around Times Square and the ball dropping, like this is a significant thing that people in the world like give a crap about, which they do not.
I don't know if that's true. My family, not with me, they left me behind, but my family flew out to New York one year to watch the ball drop because they were like, "Oh, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity," and I was like, "I don't. No, thanks."
Wait, so you're saying you care about it even less than I said people care about it? You're like, I'm actually anti.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the years now in my adult time, I don't even stay up for the ball drop. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me at all.
And just sort of the idea that the ball dropping is New Year's, fine, that's a significant occurrence, but like to sort of wrap everything around the importance of this ball just was like really stupid.
Well, it was thin. It's very thin.
Yes. Like
that, and that's Hilary Swank's pretty much entire storyline until they throw in something that really angers me a lot.
So pick a storyline that you want to start with, and then we'll follow that one on its wavy path, because we're following the chart. We're going to follow the chart.
This is great. Because I was like, I don't understand how we're going to talk about this, but this is good. We'll go through the branches. Okay. Well, I want to end with Zac Efron because
so let's end with that.
I want to talk about him.
So let's start with Jon Bon Jovi, Jensen. Signed banana.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. The first thing I would like to say, Jon Bon Jovi looks great. Good.
He looks gorgeous.
It's unbelievable.
Oh my god. Eat him up with a spoon. He's gorgeous.
Oh,
You're
wow.
Like,
I feel like I really wish I could get rich if that's what getting rich gets you, because I would love to be beautiful for another 30 years, or start being beautiful in about 5 years and then continue, I guess, because I got to work into it. So this includes Sophia, right? We're going to include her. Okay. All right. Absolutely. Continue. You start it up.
So he's a rock star. He's come back to New York. He's playing.
He's a cover artist, though. He just does covers in this movie.
Oh, really? Were those covers? Both of them were covers?
They were all covers. Everything he sang. The first thing he sang was a Meatloaf song, and then he sang. I don't even remember the other song he sang. Shoot. But they were both covers, and I was like, wait, you don't even write like an original song for this guy?
Did he sing 3 songs? He sang. Well, he sings at the New Year's Eve in downtown, and then does he sing at the party too? Or... He sings the duet with Lea Michele in the elevator.
And then she sings the end, which I also have a problem with, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that later. But he sings earlier. He's singing 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad by Meatloaf, just acoustically. That's when we meet him. And I was like, oh, great. He's just a guy singing other people's songs.
So he is Katherine Heigl's love interest, and then he was the runaway bride to her.
Right. Did you understand the timing of their backstory by any chance?
A year ago or something?
Because he was like, he left last New Year's Eve, but when did he propose? It sounded to me, just in the story that they were telling, like he proposed in the morning and then left at night. Like that's what I got out of it. I'm sure that's not right, but I was like, oh, okay, that's weird.
And I mean, he didn't really run away bride because they weren't like about to get married. He proposed to her and they just disappeared. He
proposed and then he left on tour, I guess. Like he just, or whatever. I don't know.
Which sure seems like he could have just said, okay, honey, I'm going on tour. We, come along. But she was like his chef on tour too, right?
Was she the chef or did she
I
just
think
follow
so.
along as a groupie? Let's just for real quickly. My biggest problem with this movie is we do the exposition so fast, and it's so poorly done that I didn't understand half of these people's stories, like backstory. I was like, I don't even need the backstory at this point. Just kind of do the thing. I don't know why they're all like bad sketch setups. Like, oh, he ran away, but he's back a year later. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
So he's in love with Katherine Heigl, and then he's gotten her hired to cater this party. And she finds that out at one point and like kind of acts like it's like, wow, he thought of me. And you're kind of like,
no.
Well,
like I'm mad. I'm like offended. He's trying to buy your love. Why are you not upset by this? Here's this man who like screwed you over a year ago, and now he's like, hey, I got you a job. We should hook up. What? Get out of here.
So she's catering the party that he's playing at, in addition to him playing in Times Square. So she's a chef, and you never buy it for 1 second. She like is so unchef-like. It's hilarious. Oh,
they should have never. Oh no!
Where's a banana?
Oh my god.
Okay, so they should never have what?
They should have never showed her cooking.
But that they had to put her in a location.
I mean, I get it, Dan, but they did a scene where she's chopping something. I don't know. She's just like, meh, meh, meh. And I was like, oh no. Like she can't even like Julianne, It's just, it was bad. It was really bad. And her hat is so dumb. Is that really what chef hats look like?
It looks like a poof.
It's not. I mean,
it's a layover. Was it the layover?
Yeah, but it's like almost a beret, and it like hangs all the way down to the bottom of her chin. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening. This is a weird costume choice.
So she is the boss of Sofia Vergara, who is her sous chef, who is even has less cuisine ability than Katherine Heigl. But you see, it's not bothersome because she's actually kind of funny.
She's kind of funny. Not only, but my biggest problem with her is she's not wearing a shirt under her chef coat, Dan. So
really?
she's got cleavage for days. And I was like, that's not sanitary. Like that's, or safe. Like if you spill some grease, it's listen, I don't think that's allowed. I've worked in a kitchen and you gotta be, tighten it up.
So one point at the end, Sophia's changed into like a blue dress, once again showing the cleavage, and then Katherine Heigl's in this silver dress that is just like tight as can be, and her breasts are gigantic. And then she makes a comment about Sophia's breasts, like showing a little, and her breasts are just like
her dress is so tight. It is the tightest. I don't even think she could get out of it. I think she was in that. They had to cut her out of it. It's so tight, and it also looks. It's a weird dress. It's not a good choice. It reminds me of the fembots from Austin Powers a little bit.
Yeah,
and I was like, I don't like what's happening.
Well,
it's not.
It looks like liquid metal. It looks like you just poured silver on her, and it's just. And I mean, it like wasn't sexy. It was just kind of like.
What was
it was
sexy?
Dressy.
Sofia Vergara.
And so she's like totally like she wants to screw Jensen like hard, and you're just like Jensen, get on that because Mama.
Jensen makes a lot of mistakes in this movie, and I'm not talking about running away from Katherine Heigl. That's the best move he's ever made. But circling back, he gets propositioned for a threesome, and he's like, "Nah, I gotta go talk to Katherine." I was like, "No,
who? No, are you sure that was him?"
Yeah,
Josh Duhamel gets the.
Oh, you're right. You're right. They're all, first of all, they're all the same guy, and they're all making mistakes. Because I would also argue running back for Sarah Jessica Parker is a mistake. But,
So there's like one scene where they throw eggs and stuff at, were they throwing them at a picture? What were they throwing them at?
It was a poster of Jensen.
So basically he ran away, and then so she needles him a few times, and then they just fall back in love for no reason.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she slaps him hardcore, which was great.
Twice.
The second slap was very funny, and then she apologizes later she's like, I'm sorry I slapped you the second time. And I was like, that's a good line. I didn't laugh, but I liked the line. But they just called truce. In the middle of a scene, he just looks at her, he's like, truce. And she's like, truce. Based on what? Why are we trucing? I don't understand what's happening.
Because, well, I mean, pretty much everything in this movie just is resolved by saying it's resolved. You know, nobody gets, nobody goes through anything or changes or does anything. Although John Bon Jovi's character says, I'm going to stop going on the road or something.
Yeah, he's apparently going to stop being a rock star and stop making money. He's retiring for this chef lady. I'm out.
So that's Jensen. Is there anything else we have to add to Jensen and Katherine Heigl?
We already talked about that he's pretty, so I think we're good.
Okay, so I'm crossing those off the list. Now we're going to go over. So let's go to what's the other thing that just. So let's go back. Let's go to Jensen to Josh Duhamel.
Okay.
Who is he?
That's such a good question. I asked it every 5 seconds that he was on the screen. I don't know. I don't know who he is. I don't know why he's talking at this party. What company he owns? He owns like a company, and he inherited from his dad, I guess. Who's hosting this party? But I don't know anything. Also, I don't know who's got married. Why he's at their marriage ceremony and needs to come
in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere with no one there.
And this guy's rich AF. He doesn't have a driver. He doesn't have a. Listen. This storyline doesn't make any sense at all.
No. So he's in the middle of nowhere at a wedding for this random couple that means nothing, and it's a throwaway. And then there's a pastor there, and he does the whole thing. And then Josh Duhamel has to drive to New York to get to his mom's party. Mom is the rich lady throwing the party.
Yeah.
And then why does he crash? He crashes for being why does he crash?
I don't
something really dumb.
Oh, because the GPS is like, turn left for New York or something, which didn't make any sense. And then he just tried to turn and ran into a sign or something. It was awful.
So Larry Miller shows up with a tow truck and gives him the whole, you can't do this, you can't do that, nothing can happen, nothing can ever happen, you're stuck here forever. Best
part of the movie to me.
Really?
Larry Miller. He's the only person that got me to laugh. He is I love him so much. He's so funny. And I refuse to believe he was working off the script. I think he got bullet points and then just was like, you know what, just tell him that it can't happen and do whatever you want. Because he was funny. He made me laugh.
And that's a whole thing is he's actually a professional funny guy. So he can deliver lines that are funny and just like, they try to give lines to other not funny people at times, and it's just like not a funny person.
It doesn't work at all.
So then he ends up in an RV with the pastor, who's Larry Miller's, I think, his brother, and then
they're related somehow. Yeah,
and then they're gonna drive him into town, and then he's like, I'll pay for half the gas. And then he sees the RV and he's all like, oh my God, I have to pay for half of that gas. And you're kind of like, dude, you own a company that's throwing a party for like the richest people in the world. And you're hiring John Bon Jovi to play your party.
Had to have been millions of dollars just to get him to play this party.
I maybe not millions of dollars, but I think those numbers are like hundreds of thousands. To like when you hire, real stars to play a 2-hour party,
anything
you pay like
over
$200,000.
6 figures is $1 million. I don't.
And he's grousing about having to pay $125 in gas or $60 in gas. Like, oh my God, $60 in gas. How will I survive?
Maybe he didn't. We don't know. There's never a follow up.
So in the car, in the RV are some kids and a horny grandpa and Lisa Simpson.
Is that who plays Lisa? Okay.
Yeah, Lee Smith. That's
so
Lisa
much
Simpson.
sense because her voice, I was like, What is going? Yeah, I couldn't figure it out, but it sounded so familiar.
What is that?
Okay, that checks out. And so a running theme here is to have like ancillary characters be overly horny. That's like a running joke of this movie, and it isn't that funny.
Yes.
It doesn't really work.
Shannon laughed at
Oh,
one of the
really?
horny
That's
grandpa
great.
lines. I will say that she was amused by one of the horny grandpa lines. I will say that she watched like the first 20 minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, it has an all-star cast," and she's like, "Some star cast."
I mean, that's an accurate way to put it. Yeah.
It's like, where can we put a bunch of television people? So we're gonna. So Josh is trying to get to the party to give a speech, but also something
Meet someone
else
at midnight at an undisclosed location.
No, they don't. Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
do set that up, and so then we're supposed to be conflicted because Hilary Swank and also Sarah Jessica Parker are sort of have things going. So the whole dramatic tension of this movie is we're supposed to be like, who's gonna meet him?
Yeah.
Will they meet him? But that never happened. We never.
I never care,
about this
and
movie.
And here's the thing: I was hoping they were both red herrings because I didn't want him to end up with either of them. I was like, neither of them are good choices, Josh. You got to find someone different. I hope it's like someone you never expect, and then it just like pops up, and you're like, oh wow, what a fun twist that's who it is. But that didn't happen.
You know, it should have been like a really dirty hooker.
Oh, you
That
made
he's
it.
just like, this is on.
Just starts throwing the cash at her.
So let's jump over to Hilary Swank. So Hilary Swank works for the New York New Year's committee. It's like this really weird thing. So she's in charge of the New Year's Eve ball. Okay. And then she works with Ludacris, who is so stoned in this movie. Even I can tell how stoned he is. He is just like, his eyes are red and watering, and he just, you don't even know what's happening with him.
He doesn't know what's happening with him. I think he's got like maybe cue cards that he's reading maybe, and he's just kind of rattling it off because he has no emotion at all ever in this movie. He sees his family she like surprises him with his family on New Year's Eve, which I assume means like, oh, I'm not gonna spend time with my family. I'm bummed about it, which we never hear. And then he sees them and he doesn't care at all. He's just like,
oh really? He doesn't even have an emotion.
He like hugs his daughter. I was like, oh my God, this guy doesn't care about anything.
And we're also supposed to believe that he is an NYPD person, which.
Yeah.
So Hilary Swank's big boss is Ferris Bueller. What's his name? It's pretty funny that the only person whose name I didn't write their actor name is Ferris Bueller, and his name is Mr. Buellerton as a throwback to Ferris Bueller. Uh-oh, Tony's completely gone. Wait, you're back now. We're missing what? You didn't even get the Buellerton thing?
Are you back?
I'm back.
I saw you for like a half second.
I think it recorded everything. Yeah, you went black and disappeared, but it said it was still recording. So Hilary Swank's boss is Ferris Bueller, or Mr. Buellerton, who's played by what's his name?
Husband. Yep.
Sarah Jessica's husband.
Matthew Broderick. Yeah.
Matthew
Producers.
Broderick. And he shows up in a car and is all like, "If you don't fix the ball, you're fired."
Like this
and
weirdly emotional speech when the ball got stuck, and then everyone was happy except for him. He was like, "I don't think you're taking this seriously." She just saved your ass, dude. Like I don't understand.
Well, she gives this speech at about the 1 hour mark of the movie. Which it's actually the speech that you're supposed to give going into the third act, I think, right? Isn't that the end of the second act? You're supposed to give this big speech where you're like, yeah, team, and then the team rushes in there, and then the team is supposed to have its final problem and then overcome, and then denouement. but it
Which
goes
is
at an
halfway
hour,
point.
and it's just like it's just not when you're supposed to give the big speech, because by the time people are actually resolving their stuff, it has nothing to do with the speech, and it has nobody's
And not
resolve
only
has to do with
that,
anybody
but
else.
you're still too close to setting up all the problems that we haven't lived in any of the problems. So this rally cry just lands on deaf ears completely because you're still in the middle of the problems. So it's like it was just bad. It was bad timing.
And I guess the other question is, does anybody else in the movie actually stop and listen to her
like
speech?
Dead De Niro is listening in the hospital. I think.
Could be. But we can't tip that bit because that has to come later. So she has to fix the ball that's just broken. The normal guys can't fix it. She has to call in Kaminsky, who's played by Hector Elizondo. And there's this whole implication that she fired him. Did she fire him during the movie?
Not at all. We've never met this guy, and they talk about. I don't know. They're talking about a guy you've never met and have no idea what he's, and they're talking about him like he matters. They're like, we have to call Kaminsky. Kaminsky? Who the fuck is Kaminsky? I don't know. I don't care. Just bring him in. Let him fix the stupid ball.
And then he comes in and is all like, you fired me. Why should I do this? And I don't know. She convinced him to do it. And then they do this whole bit where it's like a string of light bulbs where if one goes out, then you got to find that. And which is, of course, the most absurd thing ever. Because that you would not build this thing like that. Because that's this is like someone that's really old writing. Do you even know that concept of if one light goes out, they all go out?
They don't do it anymore.
But
yes,
but
correct.
It was Christmas lights.
It was Christmas
30
lights when I was
years
growing
ago.
up, and my dad was hanging things on a ladder, and then the light, when I plugged it in, the light went out, and then he yells at me about it. He's like, "Well, plug it back in, you idiot!" So then I'm like doing the thing, and he's up there, he's like, "God damn it, motherfucker!" Good memories, childhood memories, Christmas as a family. It's great stuff.
Boot in the ass. So yes. So first, so she has to call in Kaminsky, and then Kaminsky climbs up the ladder, and then he goes up the ball. And I really wanted him to be stuck up on the ball for it to come down.
They
for
cut
news.
away. They never let you. They don't let you know how he got down. He's just down. It's just resolved. What is the point of even? That's not even a joke at that point. I was so mad. He should have been up there all night. He should be like freezing at the top. So dumb.
Yeah, I mean, your classic plot line is she fires him at the beginning of the movie, and then she has to get him back, and she has to change in some way. She's like the asshole boss who fires him, but everyone has to be a good person in this movie, and no one has to change.
Yep. I mean, except for Bon Jovi changes this much.
And Katherine Heigl's a bitch from the beginning.
Because it probably wasn't
Katherine
written
Heigl.
that way, but that's all she knows how to do.
So now we're gonna go to De Niro. De Niro is in the hospital dying. He hasn't shaved. He's got 12 hours to live. The only thing he wants to do is see the ball drop. He's got this nurse Halle Berry who actually has nothing to do with him going and seeing the ball drop. She just is kind of there, and we're kind of set up to think that she cares about him. Cary Elwes is his doctor who doesn't really do anything.
Why in the world did he do this movie?
It is the saddest misuse of a character in this movie.
In a movie full of misuse, this is the bottom of the barrel.
You're like, Cary Elwes. I'm excited.
Love him. He's so great. Nothing. Yeah,
he's funny. Actually, we'll say this again now. It's even though we're not at the end. This is once again a movie where the funniest things in the movie are the outtakes that happen at the end, and I think Cary had one good one.
Of course he will, but I was so mad. And also, just as a general rule, I hate movies that this is cheating to me. it's emotional manipulation. You don't earn the emotion. You try to force people to feel emotion by giving someone a death sentence. And it just infuriates me. I don't care about him. I'm like, why is he in the movie? I don't need to fucking see this. This is like a cheesy rom-com. Don't put that in there. And then on top of that, not to jump around too much, but they also give Halle Berry an overseas like soldier guy, and I was like, unnecessary.
Yeah,
I don't need to see why.
I like that.
It's just an emotional ploy. Like, I don't need to see that. And then he's got to go, and she's all sad, and she has no resolution in the movie at all. She's just left depressed on New Year's. Why is that in this movie?
I guess I say that I didn't hate it because it actually made me feel a little something. And in this movie, I'm not feeling anything.
Right. You're not
it's
feeling
just a
it because you're
manipulation.
attached to Halle Berry. You're just feeling because you're like, wow, that situation is really tough. So that's I'll get off my high horse.
Now, in this whole hospital scene, there are two guest stars that I missed and only saw in the cast list.
Alyssa Milano.
Who are they?
She was one of the
Where was she? I
nurses
did
that was
not see her.
holding the babies when they're like, do you want to see what we do on New Year's Eve? And then they go hold babies after he dies. My wife called that out. She was like,
who's the other one?
I think that's Alyssa Milano. I was like, no, it's not. And then we checked the cast list and it was. I don't know. Who's the other one?
Halle Berry's husband. Who was that?
I don't know who her husband is.
At first, I thought it was LL Cool J because he looks a little like LL Cool J.
Oh, he's the soldier. Okay, I think it's they degrade the footage. I think to make it seem like a Skype call or whatever. I think that's why I didn't pick up on it.
So then at the very end, we find out that Hilary Swank is De Niro's daughter. And so she comes and moves him to the elevator and takes him up onto the freezing cold, which no one else wanted to do because they're doctors and nurses and that would kill him, even though he's going to die. What's his last wish? So then they have like this beautiful daughter-father moment that I could care less about. And I was hoping that
I'm left to assume that she then throws him off the roof. And that's how he dies. She dumps the chair.
That is exactly what happens.
Down, scene over.
So let's go. Let's deal with the plot line that is really out of place. We've got to have a baby first for New Year's with Seth Meyers and Jessica Biel as one couple, and then Sarah Paulson and a guy named Till Schweissiger, who I sort of recognize, but I have no idea who he is.
So we finally got to this whole the crux of the movie. The problem is casting, I think. I mean, part of it, casting and writing, obviously, but they cast that guy. He works at a charm school. He is the least, for one joke. He's the least charming person in a movie devoid of charm. He is anti-charming. Like I'm put off by this guy.
You want to punch him in the face the whole time. Yes. He's brash, but he's not even New York brash. Yes. He's like European brash. You're like, ugh, you're really gross. You're like, are you a Nazi? I don't know what you are. You're very unappealing. Please do not come back in an SS uniform.
But I mean, if you want to, you can pay him to teach you how to be charming. So you do what you want. So it's so weird.
Charm school. It's like another thing that's like a charm school. Like, I
don't know anymore. But I mean, we've had like a whole movie based off it, didn't we? I feel like there's a movie about. I don't know. It's not called Charm School, but Steve Martin. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's not like a super common thing. I don't believe.
I totally forgotten that Charm School joke. So they are battling to have their baby, and at one point they're in with the baby doctor, and they're just like, "Cut it out of me!"
The whole storyline is upsetting. and weird. And then they try to make you believe they're good people at the end. And I was just like, it's much too late, you guys. You're bad people. You're all idiots, and I hate you all.
Now, the baby doctor is played by Carla Gugino. I had to look that up.
She's
you know
in
her?
Entourage.
I recognized
That's
her,
how
but
I know her. Oh yeah,
she was in Entourage,
yeah.
Really?
She was
Who would
Vince's
she play in
agent,
Entourage?
hot agent for a while. When he leaves Ari,
Oh,
yeah, and then they kind of have a relationship, and then she breaks it off with him.
Now, is she the one that he has a relationship with, and then she's got like a powerful husband, and the husband wants to kill Vince?
Or is that
some other
something
show?
Different.
Some other show. And at one point, the Sarah Paulson character is like doesn't understand that they're trying to have the baby
not
by
at one
New
point,
Year's,
Dan. She seems to be in the dark almost the whole time, other than the very first scene. The first scene, she's there to like set it up and be like, well, I think it's a bunch of money. And then the other guy's like, oh, it's not that much money. Blah, blah, blah. And then she must forget everything because the rest of the movie, she's just like, I'm just being pregnant and having a baby at some point. What's wrong with you guys? I can't handle it.
Now, for the life of me on the big flow chart, I'm crossing things off as we finish them. Was there any connection between any of these characters and all of these other characters?
I don't remember there ever being any overlap or any mention of anybody being friends with anybody else.
So let's talk about really quickly.
Wait, Dan,
yeah,
I solved it. I figured it.
Oh, he remembers it. He's got it. I could draw my line in.
That Hilary Swank and Alyssa Milano hold after Robert De Niro dies. They're like, let's go hold babies. I bet those are the babies they just had. So it's the babies.
Okay, I'm connecting the babies. I've added the babies, and as quick as I've connected them, I've crossed them off because we've. Now let's talk about the comedic duo of Beale and Myers. And there's Hope and Crosby. There's classic Abbott and Costello, Beals and Meyer. Talk about that sort of interchange you get.
Did they have interplay? Did they work off each other? Because I don't remember it. I want to say I don't think Seth Meyers is a good actor.
He's a terrible actor. I think they had one joke. I think I wrote down one joke. There was one joke, and Shannon's like, "You got to write that down. It's a joke."
Is that the drinking game you played? Every time there's a joke, and then you took one shot. It's an easy game.
Oh, I can't believe. Cut this baby out. We need money.
That's their whole thing. Is they stop caring about the baby, and it's all about this money. But they don't. I mean, they're like,
who has? There's only two jokes I wrote down. One line, one joke. Larry Edwards does a Penn and Teller joke. Like Penn and Teller. That's why when people do jokes about things that are kind of a little off, I'm always like Penn and Teller.
Love it,
I always say that.
What was the second?
Okay, what were you saying about Seth Meyers being the greatest actor?
Oh, okay.
I'll get to that.
Okay,
we haven't gotten to it.
Oh, it's a line.
It's a line. I get to it. Yes.
Yeah. So
Seth Meyers, greatest comedian / actor of our
he's
time.
Like Robin Williams, Seth Meyers. You know what I mean? I guess my biggest the black hole of his performance was really the scene where her water breaks. And he's like, running around. He calls her, taxi.
Oh, God, no. The bag. He's throwing clothes at her.
I like the idea of the scene, like the frantic husband. It is so poorly done on all fronts. I didn't understand how you could mess that up so badly.
Well, and that's the other thing is in having baby movies, it's a classic scene, right? The man panics, the woman is there being calm, and then she like points out all the crazy things he's doing, and they're crazy things. He just throws like one of her shirts at her, then he throws like something else at her, and then
or something. It's a trope. It's the thing that you fall back on to guarantee laughs, and they messed it up so badly. It blows my mind.
If you can't get laughs on like the classic bits, who's on first, it's like, what are you doing? But that's the thing. Seth Meyers is a good guy at managing a crew of writers that
100%.
make political jokes.
100%.
That's what he's good at, and he's fine at sitting there at a desk delivering political jokes that have turns in them that you're not expecting, and that that are very topical. Like just delivering straight up comedy. This is not he's not a sketch comedian. He's not. You do not cast him in a sketch. He's not a character. He's always Seth Meyers, and you don't buy him getting worked up.
Get worked up. He's still monotone the whole time. Taxi. Oh, here's some jeans. Let's do this. So bad. It's frustrating.
Okay, so let's loop back to the Sarah Jessica Parker. So Sarah Jessica Parker is the brother to Zac Efron, who's the uncle to Abigail Breslin. And they are having this classic mom-daughter thing. The daughter wants to go and get kissed by a boy, and then that's their whole plot line.
Well, and the mom doesn't want her to go in New York unsupervised, which I don't live in New York. I live in Los Angeles. And I will just say I would feel the same way. 15 years old, no, you're not going to Times Square by yourself. I don't know. It feels like a dangerous thing to do.
And then the friends, at New Year's, the dude kisses another girl who was just standing there, and the other girl grabbed him, sort of, I guess. And they somehow are there to witness it. Your classic movie coincidence.
He's got the big eyes when she kisses him. He's like, what's happening? But he doesn't push her away. I mean, whatever. We could talk about that. It's dumb. But here's my thing, is that in the end, Abigail and SJP go to Times Square. Why wasn't that ever an option? Why didn't Sarah Jessica Parker just be like, we can go, and I'll be off to the side. You can be with your friends, but I'm not going to let you go unsupervised. How was that compromise never brought up?
Because she's supposed to meet Josh Duhamel at midnight at this restaurant or something, and she never mentions any of that, and she doesn't set it up like that's a problem.
Staying home with Abigail. That's what she said.
Yeah. Why not just go see the kids? You kiss the kid, I watch you, then we go home, and everything's cool.
It's so dumb.
And so the friends, one of the kids that's her friend, has this weird mom that keeps on like being a creeper on them. And it was kind of funny.
Here's my problem. It was only funny in the restaurant scene because they only did the bit for one of their segments. They bring up, it should have been every single one. Every time we see those kids, that woman needs to do something funny. And it's just, they wasted it.
So Sarah Jessica Parker, late, decides that she's going to go meet Josh. And so she goes to the Rockettes and gets like this really weird costume and a carriage, which of course we've set up that you can't do anything on New Year's, but somehow in the world's most empty streets, she's gotten this magical carriage.
Dan, where are they?
They fall in love.
I don't understand. Where are they? There's not a single other person it's New York. I don't think that street exists. So dumb.
So before Josh Duhamel, he's at the party with his rich mom. I can cross that off. Penny Marshall was there. I can cross her off. Random couple I can cross off. This was one of the things that was really strange. So Josh Duhamel's getting ready to leave, and he goes over to the bar, and there's like really smoking hot bartender woman, and she's like, hey. And then he's like, oh, kind of no. And then two other girls come up, and they're like, oh, hey, threesome. And then he says no to all of them. Why do you need one girl hitting on him, then two girls? I mean, is that like he's moving up the chain? Like at the doorway, there's like six, 6 Russian beauties with like these perfect, they're like quintuplet Russians that are like dressed in space gear. He has to like run the gauntlet of everyone wanting to sleep with him.
It's to really hammer home that he's a genuinely good guy. Or at least now, he's not interested in a fling. He's interested in the real thing. He's our ideal man, Dan.
But he blew off the one girl who I thought was much 100%. Cuter than the other 2 stupid girls. And then he was really on the fence with the other 2. Like, he wasn't just like, no. He was like,
what's better than 1 is 2, right? I'm kidding. First of all, that's an impossible situation I never want to find myself in. Can't even please my wife. I have to edit that out of the podcast.
So, no, you can't. So he goes and meets Sarah Jessica. Mm-hmm. They are in. They just get a kiss or something.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. She pulls up and he's like, "Hey, you came." She's like, "Hey, you came." And they're like, "I guess we're in love, even though we met maybe for one night and then a year later we're together." Nope. They don't know anything about each other. That relationship is doomed.
Okay, so back to Times Square, New Year's Eve. Ryan Seacrest is there. He makes a hair joke.
Hold on.
Whatever.
I need to talk about the Ryan Seacrest bit a little bit because just really quickly, Dan.
Go, Tony. Let's talk about that bit.
Hold on. The ball freezes and Ryan Seacrest is on the mic and he panics. You're telling me that Ryan Seacrest, radio personality Ryan Seacrest, can't vamp? He doesn't know how to vamp. He panics and is like, "This isn't supposed to happen," and then runs away? I don't think that's exactly what happens. But he doesn't. All he needs to do is like vamp for a couple minutes, make some shit up, and then like be like, "We'll be back." I mean, come on. It's so dumb. I was infuriated. If I was Ryan Seacrest, I'd be like, "No, sorry guys, I'm not doing this. This is a stupid bit."
So Ashton Kutcher lives in a Brooklyn apartment or whatever. He hates New Year's for some reason that they may have said, but I tuned it out. A woman in college
broke his heart on New Year's. She broke up with him on New Year's or something. Leah Michelle points it out in the elevator.
Sure. So he tears down all the decorations, going to throw them out, and then he and Leah Michelle end up in an elevator. The elevator goes down. The elevator breaks. No one can make the phones work. He settles down, and then they fall in love.
Do they? Again, it's not fall in love. They just kind of decide that towards the last thing is she's like, "Well, we could have our own party," and then they just count down to a kiss. That's not a party. That's literally just a ball drop. You guys are just skipping to the end of the night. That's so.
It would have been nice if they'd had like a cake or some champagne or something party-ish, like in their bags, but all they had were decorations.
No,
that's not a party,
know that, Dan.
like you said.
I've been to a lot of parties, guys.
And Leah Michelle looking pretty cute.
Oh, interesting. I'm not a huge fan.
She looked pretty good.
Not a fan.
She was always kind of annoying on Glee, and then you kind of knew she was sort of a prima donna, so you kind of were like, "Oh." But I thought she, as opposed to Katherine Heigl in that dress, Leah Michelle puts on a nice little cute dress, and you're like, "She's cute. That's nice." She feels like a human being. Katherine Heigl's like, "Ugh, monster." Ugh. So they fall in love. Oh, Ashton is Zac Efron's roommate.
They live together.
So the elevator finally gets fixed. They go down, and there's who's fixing the elevator?
Belushi, another fucking waste. Why is he in this movie? Oh my god, so dumb.
Somebody wanted to make scale for a day. So here's my other laugh. Everybody filters into the
grandma.
And then the grandma's like struggling. She's not struggling. She's just like, and then she says the line, "This gate is a bitch." Thumbs up. delivery, comedic delivery.
Thank
very
God
funny.
she's only in the movie for 3 seconds. She's funnier than everyone else
Yeah.
you hired in the entire film. Ugh, so dumb.
So then Leah Michelle is Jensen's backup singer. She goes there, and Jensen, since he's quit performing because he can't perform one more song to prove his love for Katherine Heigl.
Troll. I don't think that this is allowed, Dan. In a live event,
Contractually?
this guy is going to get sued so hard. And you can't just, they would just cancel the performance. They're not going to be like, oh, you know what, backup singer, why don't you take lead vocals? No one's ever heard of you before. It's on the national stage. But why don't you just give it a shot? No, never, never going to happen.
Okay, we have dealt with everything. Okay, except we have 3 more characters that we have to deal with. Michelle Pfeiffer, who is this put upon mousy, blah, 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 who works for John Lithgow. John Lithgow is this horrible, horrible boss who, like, yells at her and demands that she works, but doesn't really need her there for any reason. He like, I need you, but we're not going to quantify any of that need.
Anything. I don't even know. I'm not even sure what they do.
They're a record company.
But like, so failing. What would you do on New Year's Eve? What would you do on New Year's Eve night? There's no business that you need done. It's so stupid.
So Zac Efron delivers to her, so he knows her, and so he's like all, so they meet on the. She quits her job, and then she has a bucket list, and then they strike up this absurd friendship.
Dan. It's not a bucket list. It's not about before you die. It's one night. She gets one night to do it all.
Was that really her? She had to do all this in one night?
Well, I think it was supposed to be the year, right? Because she was like, if you can get all these done by midnight, I'll give you these tickets.
Yeah. And it seemed like 2 tickets at the beginning, and then it's 4 tickets.
Yeah, they multiplied somewhere along the line.
Wasn't it 2 tickets at the beginning?
2 tickets. I don't know if they ever specifically said a number, but she's definitely only holding 2 in the office. Jensen Banana.
So then he has to solve all these things for her, and the solutions are all very cute, but they're all
I wrote several times that I would have rather just had a movie about their storyline. Call it like the resolution list, in the vein of The Notebook, just have like a cute rom-com between these two and have him figure out creative ways to solve all these resolutions she wants. That's cute. I like it.
And like the Bali one was really nice. It was
first.
Really,
that one should not have been first. That was the most magical one of all of them. That needs to be your last one before the ball drop.
Yeah, he takes her to this really crappy area, and then they go up this creepy elevator, and then they crack the doors open, and it's the most beautiful spa in the world. Cool it's beyond awesome. Gorgeous.
Why would you put that first? Why is that the first thing you do, and then they get less good as you go through the movie? Why?
Oh, she does save a life. I
do like the pet adoption. Yeah, very cute. Like I said, the way they do it, story-wise, is interesting. I like their storyline, but they all happen so fast, and there's no conflict. It's just like good thing, and then he calls her pathetic, which is
well. Hold on, that scene was probably the most infuriating scene of the whole movie. She's walking around like this scale model of New York, beautiful thing, and then he's standing like 3 feet away from her, and he's like, yeah, I gotta help this crazy bitch, and she's garbage, and she's standing within air length, and I am not hushing my voice at all. Like your classic movie trope. Person hears themselves described by someone else, and the whole idea is they have to not realize they're hearing you, and then you have to not act upon that. But she hears it and acts upon it. It's
not only
like,
that,
what?
Why just go around the corner? Like, set it up where he's around the corner and she just happens to be coming back from the map and overhears it around the corner. I and then that should be your first beat, and then like I whatever. I can't with that shit.
And then he leaves to go to the party, and then he comes back, and then he kisses her, and you're like, I wish this was, May, December, whatever they call that relationship, and that they really fell in love. It would have been really, because Zach, although he was a little coked up the whole time, you were like, there's a charming guy in there.
Zac Efron.
That would have been
There's
really
definitely a charming guy in there. Whoa, that guy is smoking. And when they're dancing, Dan, at the end, I was like, "Ooh, Zac Efron, smoking."
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, they do a whole dance thing at the end, and you're just like, "This is very
cute.
nice and sweet." It's cute.
This movie sucks.
That's the movie. It's now officially all crossed out. We went through every character, every plot line. Let me see if I wrote weird hope speech. That's the last thing I wrote. I don't know what that means. Who gave a hope speech?
Is that the ending voiceover by Josh Duhamel?
Yeah. Oh, there was a really terrible voiceover.
I was like, I was out. It was so over it by that point.
Bad. And my final points. Everybody kind of color is a worker in a subservient status to incredibly upper middle class and rich white people. And it's really, if you really sort of look at it, all the people of color, Ludacris, Sophia, everybody's, Halle Berry, they're all below these white people who live these perfect existences that have no character flaws and all get exactly what they want in a perfect way.
And guess who didn't get what they want in a perfect way? Halle Berry. Poor Halle. Poor
person
Halle
of color.
Sitting there.
Ludacris, too wasted to enjoy his family.
It was so bizarre. The family shows up and they're all like, "Daddy!" And he's just like, "Come here, kids."
Yo. Any other final thoughts, Tony?
I guess my final thought would be that this movie's not good. Don't watch it. And I wish we would have gotten a Zach Pfeiffer movie.
It would have been a much better movie. It would have been, because she never has a chance to really act. She does her acting within the sort of thinness of what's going on, but she never gets to sort of go through an arc.
There are really very few to no arcs in the movie, and that's kind of my problem. Is you don't ever feel in a 2 hour and 5 minute runtime, you never feel attached to a single character. It's not. It's just they kill everybody. It's terrible. Are we gonna talk about the credits? Are we gonna talk about the credits? The credits were fun.
Yeah, well, the outtakes they were great. De Niro pushing Hilary Swank in the wheelchair into the hospital. Yeah, it's cute. People can be funny
if they're not given terrible lines to read.
And I mean, you're in trouble if you have to put those outtakes in your comedy because that your comedy is not in the movie.
So you watch the movie, you hate your life, and then you watch these outtakes, you're like, oh, that was fun. And then they think that you're going to forget that the movie was so terrible. But I don't, guys. I remember how bad the movie was.
So, Gary Marshall, if you're still alive, Tony's going to kick your ass. It's right here. He's challenging you to a kickboxing
I can
match.
only kick shins. That's as high as I can get my leg. But your shins are going to be banged up, sir.
Gary's probably in a wheelchair, so that you probably don't have to get much higher than that. So wrong. Why are we saying these things?
I don't know. It's dark. It's dark. I'll take him out.
So now we're going to talk about something we liked this week, and hopefully Tony will actually pick something that's like media and not like, I saw this really sexy rock on the ground.
I have never been sexually attracted to a rock, Dan. A tree.
I am picking the new hot show on Netflix, The Queen's Gambit.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Where have you been? Do you ever turn on Netflix? Do you have friends? It's the story of this orphan who learns to play, is a chess prodigy, and then it goes all through her sort of rise to chess power. And there's some drugs and alcohol along the way, and it's just so good. It was like one of those ones where it's like 7 episodes or an hour each, where you like watch the first one, you're like, I love this, I'm going to watch the second one tomorrow. You watch the second one the next day, and then you're like, okay, I'll watch half of another one today, and then the third day you watch everything else because you're like, I need more of this cake. It's so good. The girl that plays the thing is she is gonna be working forever because of this. And it's like they're chess matches, so you sort of are like, oh, they're gonna be taunting each other while they play, and they're gonna, because you're gonna have to do that to make these chess matches interesting. Nope. All mental, visual acting with eyes, showing things with direction.
This sounds crazy,
exactly.
Man. I don't know.
And characters that they don't resolve things. Like one of the characters at one point is like, I don't want to have sex with you. And another character, you're like never quite sure if he's gay or not. And you're kind of like, they don't answer the questions. And you're like, most things answer all those questions so that you feel resolved. Sometimes it's by leaving things unanswered. It sort of is how we actually live our lives, because our lives have those questions that can float there for 10 years, and then they get resolved, and you're like, oh, that was what was going on. What do you got for us, Tony? Some rock or some sexy male star that a scene in a movie where a guy took off his shirt and you're like, just got to talk about his nipples
all day long. I feel like you know what I'm about to say, Dan, because you're the one that told me about it. 2 years ago, it was announced that Monster Squad was getting a documentary, and then it went into limbo hell for 2 years until just last Thursday.
You mean they worked on it, over those 2 years?
2 years ago, and they were looking for
really?
What's that called? Distribution. Thank you. And then it just like disappeared. There was a big social media push in 2018 about it, and then I heard nothing until you sent me that Facebook thing. I was like, oh my God, I remember this. Anyhow, it's called Wolfman's Got Nards. It's beautiful. It made me cry. It's great. Well, members passed away while he was still young, and they do like a little tribute to him in it, and it was great. It was really great. Yeah, fat kid.
One of the kids.
Yeah. It sounds like some hospital malfeasance killed him when he had pneumonia or something. I don't know. It's pretty sad, but in all, it was beautiful. And the movies, it had like a resurgence a few years ago when they released the special edition of it, and so it's great. It's cool. It's really good.
Well, that's very sweet. So now's the time where I get to pick a movie. We're going into December, right? I don't know. Do we have 5 Wednesdays in December? I didn't check yet. So we're gonna do 4 or 5 holiday movies, depending on how many. So I was looking at one movie, and it's only on like DVD or Blu-ray, and so I was like, okay, we'll wait on that one, because maybe when the postal system's working a little better, you can buy a DVD, and then I'll watch it, and then I'll send it to you, and you can watch it. But I'm not quite ready for that, because I've got a couple movies like that already.
The bin. You have a
waiting in the bin, right there in the bin. I have a prop effects prop box, and then this is going in the prop box.
Jensen,
use this one again.
The JBs,
the Jensen banana. And the joke of the Jensen banana is at one point Sophia says, "We could get him to sign the banana or something like that." It's like really random, really weird. So I'm picking the perennial 1998 classic Jack Frost.
No.
Michael Keaton dies and gets turned into a snowman.
And I cried so hard, and I vowed never to watch it again.
I have chosen well. I shall destroy Tony. Tony will be like, no, Snowman, Michael Keaton.
I don't know.
Snowman,
I don't.
so
As a kid, it
sad.
really affected me. So we'll see what happens.
Well, maybe we're going to start off the holidays very sad. This might be a very emotionally manipulative movie of turning your dad into a snowman and then killing him again.
Woof. I mean, he has to
Do
melt.
they kill him
right?
again?
I don't remember, but if I was writing the movie, he would melt in the end. I'll tell you that right now.
He's got to learn to live with all that death. Your dad died.
Yeah,
He's
don't
dying
worry.
again in front of
you're
your face. Hopefully, the kid will be like tied up in a chair and have to watch his dad melt to death.
Murder?
That's what I'm hoping.
Don't close
Yeah,
your eyes. Don't
like
close your eyes.
terrorists, like, you know,
Stop it.
got his eyes pried open. No, Dad's not. Like, he's crying. His tears are flowing into the water of his melting dead snowman.
Oh, this is good. This is going to be a good holiday film. I can feel it.
So this one is available on
Perfect.
Amazon Prime.
I'm so excited. Holiday season
for
is
rental
among
or
us.
something. Ah, Christmas. But then again, if Donald Trump doesn't get reelected, we're not having Christmas. It's
Yeah,
just going to be
hey,
like Soviet
You win some,
style,
you lose some.
not Christmas. So there it is. Well, that's the show.
I'm cutting it there. That's the show.
Hey, watch it!